place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy. Tonight is your answer. It's the answer told by lines that stretched around schools and churches in numbers this nation has never seen, by people who waited 3 hours and 4 hours, many for the first time in their lives, because they believed that this time must be different.
This is for InfoWarscom and PrisonPlanet.com. The contest, Operation Paul Revere. My name is Joel Ryan. I am a biracial male. My father is Caucasian and my mother is African American. I was born in this country, and I'm a two-time college graduate, a member of the International Honor Society, Phi Theta Kappa. In college, I have been on the Dean's List twice, and the President's List, and I have no job. And I haven't had one since I graduated college the spring of 2008. I do not own a car and couldn't finance one anyway due to college loans. Just to put icing on the cake, I have a chronic disorder, Crohn's disease. A special one, between muscle spasms in my legs to where it is painful to walk. I was on medical disability, but they disbanded the medical disability assistance program. One that I have been paying into all those years of me working. I see no relief in sight for me. When I am in food market lines, I witness about 60% of people using food stamps on those EBT cards. I believe that it is possible that's the only reason supermarkets are even open and can offer low-wage jobs. Through the mainstream media, I always hear that the economy is getting better, that it's having a slow return. I see no evidence of this for us average citizens. When I was in college, I believed the sky was the limit. I believed I could do anything. Now, I cannot view at that altitude anymore. The first titled African American president has taken office. I remember when he was campaigning for the first time, him speaking about change so passionately. But the only change I've seen, things are decreasing for me, and I see no relief in sight. Am I missing something? I wanted to answer this question. So with careful deliberation, we went out to interview a small piece of the population that I believe that their votes were neglected during this last campaign. I went to go interview the African Americans. Have they experienced change? Is the American dream a reality, or is it an illusion? So we went traveling to an area where people were willing to be interviewed on camera. So we ended up in a city in Pennsylvania named Lancaster. It's been here for a while. Is the American dream able to be acquired? Have you experienced it?
I think the traditional American dream that we've been sold is kind of the advertised American dream is owning your own home, a car, being able to give your children a higher standard of living than you had, send them to college and maybe have the vacation. For me personally, I don't think it's necessarily that ownership, but having stable housing, food, health care, and also the desire to give your kids a higher standard than what you have.
I've been struggling all my life, and around me, things are the same.
When I think of the American dream, I think of one, that it's a lie, and two, that we've bought into it.
So no, to answer your question, this is not how I envision my life. Like I said, I want to own my own business, and things don't work out the way you plan sometimes, but I believe it'll get back on track. I start a new job, I'll be able to save up some money and get my own place again soon.
Personally, I think that question assumes some type of truth or reality about the American dream. And I think it's a false assumption. I think as persons of African descent, to think that the American dream was created or for us, it has been a myth that we've bought into.
It's rough. We've been behind for a while and trying to play catch up. It's been a rough, what would you say, about 2.5 years? It's been a rough 2.5 years that we're trying to make ends meet, and I'm not gonna lie and say none of it's isn't our fault. Some of it is choices that we made and could have made better choices, but it's definitely not easy if you have more than one child. People can't afford daycare is ridiculous, and jobs don't want to give you the hours so that you have health benefits and things like that.
Piece of it, but not to its full extent. I always envision myself traveling around the world, being a famous poet, and to some extent I have done that. I read poetry for the state capitol in Pennsylvania and at Penn's Landing. I did poetry for the NAACP in California. So I was going towards my dream, but sometimes you get sidetracked and fall off course, and life doesn't turn out the way you like it to.
I think there are people who believe that they're living the dream, but I think what I see more are people that are frustrated, they're dispassionate, they're hopeless, they're angry because they believe in this American dream that is not for them, that is really a myth, and they can't seem to get it. And so I think I see people that are just really disheartened, and I think it's because they've bought into the lie.
African Americans and their youth. How well do they fit in the educational system?
Education, or the lack thereof. It seems that the education of black youth are not that important. Like in Philadelphia, they're closing 29 schools. Where are those kids going to go?
I want to be able to send my children to college. I don't see that happening. I would like to move to a better neighborhood. I don't see that happening right now. But that doesn't mean I'm never going to see it. But right now, it's hard to see.
Get jobs. Have programs with teaching them how to read, teaching them how to write, teaching them how to fill out a resume, or how to apply for a job. Things to help them better themselves instead of planning for their demise, plan for their success.
Is the economy getting better? Are there good jobs / careers out there?
No, it is not.
You know, we struggle just to make our mortgage payments sometimes, but at this point, I would say the house is probably worth more than what we initially paid, what our initial mortgage is. We just still struggle to make those payments as they are.
People are just getting to a point where they are at their wits' end. I think it's been bad. I think that they just can't seem to find, all the avenues are almost, they've gone down all the avenues.
You know, I have many friends who have no health insurance at all and have heart disease and have diabetes and high blood pressure and have to scrounge to figure out how to get some kind of medication.
And for most people, I think, you know, even college degrees, people that have college degrees now, they can't get a job. People are losing their houses left and right, black, white, whoever. But I think educated black people used to tell you education is the key. But it's a lot of educated people out here that's homeless. It's a lot of educated people out here that are losing their houses. So, no.
Yeah, I don't.
There's definitely inequity in the system. I don't know that I could say he's defending the banks more. I think I disagree with decisions that were made. While I can look at it and see it looks terribly inequitable, I'm not an economist. I don't know, would things have broken down worse if more of those banks went under? There's things that obviously look completely wrong, like those CEOs still getting huge bonuses and payments for running a failing system. That looks clearly wrong.
Because churches are made up of these same people who need help, right? Children being brought in for needing shelters and having a difficult time finding permanent housing for them. I don't think that it's changed so much as people are now at at their bottom line, and so we get calls for people asking for money, and we don't give out money because we can't begin to do something like that, but we do contribute to, again, this larger pool. And
Julian Bond, chairman of the NAACP, said racism has increased during Obama's tenure. Do you agree?
I think racism has never gone away. It slowed down a little bit for a while, but since the beginning of time, there has been racism. There is always going to be racism. I can't blame that on Obama's tenure since he's been in office.
in fact, not only has it increased, I mean, Even the Southern Poverty Law Center has said that there has been an increase of hate groups and racism since Obama became president. And they found direct correlation to him being black and president and the increase of hate groups and race-based hate groups. So, oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you think racism would decrease when Obama became president?
Well, I think everybody was excited about having an African American president because we thought it would give us a more even ground, like help our people to be able to get better jobs and housing and
I have a difficult time pitting one oppression against the other. If one person is oppressed, then we're all oppressed. I mean, Martin Luther King even makes that statement.
Do you think another black man could run for president in 2016?
I think in some ways that Barack Obama, because they wouldn't want Barack Obama or another black president, that would open up ways for possibly a woman to be president, or possibly for a white woman is what it would be, or possibly a Hispanic male to be president, or a male of color, from but not one of African descent.
Department of Homeland Security has acquired 1 billion bullets. Do you fear for the youth?
I fear for all black youth walking the streets. When my son was a teenager, him and his friends went out one night and jumped into a pool, and somebody else's pool. They had played basketball till 12 o'clock at night. It was real hot. Teenager pranks. The cops chased my son down and beat him up. The report said a young Spanish boy, yada, yada, yada. And I told the police, I fear for Spanish mothers, because he thought he was beating up a Spanish boy. He didn't even think he was beating up a black boy because he was light-skinned with green eyes. But they should have asked him his race. And they have vengeance in their hearts for minorities. And because of their fear of what you might do to me, these black children might get killed just because the cops are scared.
There are many things that we need to be concerned about in this country, and one of the things is we're a country that loves its guns, and so 30 million hollow point bullets, 30 billion hollow point bullets, and we're wondering why. And only the whole gun conversation is really kind of crazy, because so the only people who should have guns are law-abiding citizens until one of them shoots somebody. It's a ludicrous argument, and it's not. And it's the gun companies who are making these guns that are making them available to whomever who has them, and the government is supporting this because it needs the guns and it needs the bullets and it needs there's money to be made. It's not. To me, it just seems like we are fooling ourselves if we think that this whole gun debate and this whole bullets and how it impacts our community consequently is that because there's been this, I think, this gradual disenfranchisement, the gradual erosion of the community since the time of integration, that we now have some of our young people whose sense of connected to a larger community, to family, even a smaller community, to family is not there, that their life and the life of another is not valued.
Eric Holder said President Obama has the authority to eliminate anyone with drones. How And could that affect the black community?
Would be that the drones could be used to um, threaten the lives of African Americans for some crazy reason that someone all they have to do is deem whatever is happening as being terrorist acts, and there's no voice. I mean, that's a scary thought. There's an African American writer by the name of Octavia Butler, and she writes this wonderful series of futuristic stories, but I think they're prophetic. I mean, I would encourage anyone to read Octavia Butler. They're almost prophetic because there is this series that has this man that rises up that's kind of charismatic and attractive, and what ends up happening is he creates this kind of dictatorship in America and how he does it. I think it could happen. I think the spirit, yeah, it could happen. But I hope I don't see it. I hope it's not in my lifetime. That would be too painful.
I don't think there is a responsible way to use that law. I don't think any president could use it responsibly. It's an irresponsible law.
I don't think no president can use that law responsibly because, again, I don't think it was right for us to assassinate Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden. I think we call ourselves a higher moral country, and we act no differently than we accuse them of being. And these were leaders of country. And if somebody were to come into our country and take our president and do what they did, it would be on. And so to do that for another country just because you feel they're don't. That being said, there you have to have a certain bit of ego and self-importance to be a president of the United States. Because you have to really think a lot of yourself, a lot of what you think, and you have to. And people with that amount of arrogance should not be able to push a button and blow up folk. Period.
Alright, now that we have the opinion of a few people, I want to talk about these major subjects. Things like the economy. I always hear cuts to things us tax-paying citizens have paid into. And yes, we all pay taxes through purchasing items on or off the internet. We hear cuts to things like Social Security and Medicare. But you'll never hear these politicians talk about cuts to their lifetime salary that is paid for through us tax-paying citizens, or their gold star healthcare package, a healthcare package that is so good, we just picked up the tab for 72-year-old Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney just got a brand new heart and cut to the top of the line on that. Never even have to wait on a waiting room. And how about those bullets we just paid for? Department of Homeland Security acquire over $1 billion hollow point flesh shredding shells? Now, who is that for? And how about those drones? They cost up to $1 million each. Some of them. And then we have one go and land over in Iran. Crash over in Iran. And then we don't retrieve it until they fully hacked the entire thing. and acquired our knowledge? The Monsanto Protection Act, H.R. 933. Genetically modified organisms with poison put right into them. Yeah, that's safe for the children. Finally, the National Defense Authorization Act, H.R. 1540, or the new one that was revamped for this year, H.R. 4310. Now, the people that are supposed to work for us say they have the authorization to suspend habeas corpus. Your God-given right to a trial by jury of your peers. So all humans are allowed to tell their story with witnesses. Now, the major parts of the NDAA can be summed up with this. The Telegraph article where our Attorney General, Eric Holder, you know him from Fast and Furious, the illegal gun running operation, well, he says our president has the authority to kill anyone with drone strikes on and off American soil. All they have to do is claim you're a terrorist. And that title can be applied to anyone. You know what this sounds like? This reminds me of the Salem witch trials. You know that thing that happened in the 1600s, where the church or anyone could claim you were a witch, put you through impossible trials, then finally killing you in a horrendous public fashion. Now, I think these bad, truly guilty people, like what just happened in Boston, they deserve a harsh punishment. People that cause harm to innocent bystanders, innocent humans in general, they deserve a harsh punishment. And what happened to all these cameras? They didn't pick up anything? I mean, come on. Why did we spend all that money? Why did we use all the tax-paying resources for these cameras? The one thing this proves is that the police never stop anything. They're just there to pick up the remains. I do not own a gun. I have never shot a gun either. I have played video games ever since I was the age of 3. They never made me want to cause harm to anybody, never wanted to incite violence. I truly understand the Second Amendment now. It's not for hunting. It's not for firing off at gatherings or inciting violence to innocent people. The Second Amendment is so you defend yourself or other innocent people. It is for arming up and grabbing your weapons and forming small civil platoons to defend against any invading army, foreign or domestic. Now, they are trying to take our guns while they are stocking up. That's why every evil tyrant disarmed their civilians first. In the Bible and in Egypt, the Jews were disarmed, the first slaves. That is the reason why David was so good with a sling and took down Goliath. It's because they were disarmed majority of their lives. I bet you the Israelis aren't disarmed today. The Roman slaves were disarmed. The American slaves were disarmed. From Stalin to Mao to Hitler, all their civilians were disarmed, so they could not defend. Now, I am not just talking about Barack Obama. The truth is, I do not think that he is going to use the NDAA. But any president that comes along in the future have these laws under their control. The next dictator could rise up and completely could take over America. United States of America. Could be the next Hitler, or even worse, like HSBC and other banks, using our money and our accounts to fund Al-Qaeda. We are allowing them to print money from the privately owned Federal Reserve on the backs of the citizens will pay it back with interest. That is why we have a national debt. If we are in debt to other countries, that would be the international debt, away from the homeland. National debt means we are in debt to somebody in the homeland. That is the privately owned Federal Reserve. We have the internet. We almost have all of humans' information at our fingertips. Yes, we have to sift through a lot of garbage. But once you get into the real, true information, and you comprehend this information, but once we get to the true information, we are stronger, wiser, and more powerful with this true knowledge. Now they can't trick us anymore when you are armed with this true knowledge. We have to realize we are choosing to play in this crooked game. You know, make the American dream a reality. Us American citizens, well, most of us, have the resources to go find out this knowledge. Like drudgereport.com, one that I believe is the most reliable news source today. They usually get information 4 days before any of the mainstream media starts to cover it. And also, you can fully read all government bills. And you could check up on who wrote them and who signed them and who voted for them or against them on a site called govtrack.us. .us means it's an authorized United States website. You can download the entire bills, download them to PDFs, And you could put them on your phones, your tablets, and your computers, and read them on your time. And finally, prisonplanet.com, InfoWarscom, and Alex Jones. Back in 2003, when I was watching movies like Zeitgeist and Freedom to Fascism with Aaron Russo, I would hear people listen to him, and I would think he was radical. I would say to myself, these can't be true. People would notice. But then, I just kept hearing more and more of him. So, I pushed all of that aside and started to investigate all the information that he was talking about. And realized it was all true. He is not radical to me anymore. Alex Jones is one of the most knowledgeable, honest people out there. Now I dare you to listen to him and investigate his knowledge, investigate his information. The truth is, once you investigate this and you realize what he is saying is true, your eyes will be opened. But once your eyes are opened, they will never be closed. We have the resources. We have the heart. All we have to do is gain the strength and knowledge. And we can restore America, the United States of America, and recover the American dream. Thank you.
Community, any type of words of inspiration?
Get educated. You see, every other nationality, Asians, will walk 20 miles to the next Asian store to support each other. Hispanics buy from each other, help each other to succeed. Why can't we do that?
This has been good for me, and I just come back to the word Ubuntu. For our community, we have to recapture that sense of being a part of a larger collective consensus, because we don't all agree, we're all on the spectrum, but that sense that we belong to something greater and bigger than ourselves, and that we care about that. I think I just really feel like that's where we need to start, just starting where we are and working on those connections and those relationships. Yeah, that would be my parting word, Ubuntu.
Yeah, I'm so tired of hearing everybody with oh, you have to think of yourself, you have to think of your own family. And that's where we are in the problem, is that there are too many of us only thinking of ourselves and only thinking of our own family, that if we thought of each other, period, as family, because we are here to serve. I believe God put us here to serve each other